Oh, I forgot to fix the cameras. Great. Oh, and the music's too loud. God. Here I am, looking tired and ragged and haggard. Like my soul. No. I gotta do this. There you go. Hey Rain, you, how's it going? I had a weird... the encounter with the delivery person was strange. Because yeah, I decided you have a soul? I think so, I don't know, I haven't checked in a while. But like I was like, oh shit, I forgot to renew like my Ozempic prescription. Not that I'm running out, just that I was like, you know, since I'm stocking up. So I was like, oh shit. So I did, and she was super quick about renewing it. So she did it today too. So like I renewed it today, like sent in a request, and she did it because, you know, it's right before the holidays, I assume. So, you know, she wants to get it done. And I tried to order from the usual place, and usually you like pick a time when they show up, like what dates and what time, kind of time slot, but they had nothing. I assume they're super busy with like Christmas stuff, so there were no available times at all. So I tried a different service, and they were like, yeah, we can give it to you today, someone will come to your door. I'm like, oh. Not that he said that, but there was an option. So I was like, yeah, let's do that. Because otherwise I will probably have to wait till like after the holidays, I'd assume. And I didn't have to pay anything for it. So I was like, yeah, let's do it. So I was, you know, because it wasn't planned until like when I posted about it. But yeah, he showed up. First off, I didn't put in like... I did put in like the code for the door. I keep forgetting that the like intercom, the buzzer is broken. So when someone calls me from downstairs, nothing happens. Thankfully, you know, he called me on the phone. This is the problem. I don't get many visitors, and like when it's delivery stuff, I always put in the code anyway. But I guess he didn't have it, weirdly. So he seemed nice guy. He seemed fine. But he showed up, he gave me... Oh, he fucking funny. How's it going? He gave me the package, and he had a notepad with him, and he told me to write my name and then my signature on it, which is, you know, they usually require signature, but usually they have like an electronic thing you do your signature on, not just like paper, you know, in this day and age. And then he said... oh, they want me to photograph your ID. Because I asked him, do you need to see my ID? He's like, oh, yeah, I do. And he looked at it and he checked it. But then he's like, oh, they want me to photograph your ID. And I'm like, do you have to? Because, like, that's strange. That's, like, weird. Yeah, because there was something up with, like, the delivery. There was something. It became, like, that's why you have to write on a paper and stuff. And I'm like, okay. But, like, I would prefer not to. Because, like, I don't know what you're... Like, you seem fine. Like, I don't... You know, I was nice the whole time. But I was, like... I just, like, very much was, like, this is strange. This is, like, weird. That's, like... I'd prefer not to. Because, like, I don't know what you're going to do with it. Like, can you promise you're just going to delete it after you look at it? Like, are you going to store it? Like, I don't know. Like... like, so I was, like... And he's, like, you know what... Let's just, yeah, because he was like also like, yeah, it is, like, I also think it's strange. But then he explained how it works in the app he has to use for the deliveries and what they need him to put down and stuff. And I'm like, okay, but like, you know where I live, you have my number. If there's any problems, you can just call me or show up again, I guess. But like, I'd rather not just have you take a photograph of my ID. Like, both, that's strange, and it also, you know, I don't know how that's gonna get stored or anything, or with GDPR and stuff like that. I'm not even sure they're allowed to actually do that. So I was like, I'd rather not. So we ended up not doing that. But yeah, so I was like, that's, because you just got my written signature like on paper, and now you want a photo of my ID, which also has my signature, I believe. So I was like, yeah, I'd rather not just you have, like, if it was uploaded to your site and there were like terms and conditions and stuff like that, because then I would know you would have to follow like GDPR and stuff. But in this situation, this feels weird. Like, just face to face, and you want my ID, you want a photo of my ID. I don't know what you're gonna do with that on your phone. I know it's not your personal phone, but it's gonna be on your work phone unless you remember to delete it. But then it's gonna be in the cloud. We're not that's like, that's weird. That's strange. I'm like, no, thank you. So, but he was very understanding. He wasn't like arguing or anything, because he was also like, yeah, I know it is. I also think it's strange. But I was like, no, I don't. I'd rather not do that. So yeah, it was fine. Alcohol deliveries, like, there's a worker for people who don't want to show. I mean, it makes sense for alcohol stuff, I guess. But at the same time, I ordered my medication, and since when you order medication here, you have to log in with like an electronic ID that's like national. So I basically already proven who I am, and then I gave you my ID, and you can see I'm the same person. So it's kind of weird to have to, like, you know. Sure, the delivery people don't know. They haven't seen my like electronic ID, but I wouldn't have been able to order the medication without showing an ID like initially to like a service. So yeah, I was like, you know where I live, you have my number, so you know, if there's a problem, just you know, you can just show up here again, I guess. It's just, yeah, it was just strange. Oh, I just saw tomorrow. I was just like, I don't just have something in the background. Same as many of you was going. Okay, let me tell you everything that's happened. I don't know, maybe it's a weird like reaction now, but like everything's fine. So like I'm calm again and everything's normal, I guess. Okay, so yes, was it oh my god, not yesterday. No, was it yesterday? Oh my god. Yes, yesterday. Someone called me. What time did they call me? Like early. They called me pretty early, like 9-10 a.m. And it was the home carers it was the home nurse but the home carers were also like just there. Coincidentally, they showed up at the same time. And they're in my dad's house, I think, and they're like, oh, we can't find him. The TV's on, the phone's here, and I was like, once again, I thought this was a repeat of what happened last time. You know what, let's just close this, and this can be it. You can see my ugly face, my ugly unmakeup face. My ugly, tired makeup. Look at this giant sit I have, and here too. Ugh. And this is the one that's going away. Anyway, God, the music's too loud. Good music, but it's too loud. Oh god. Also, it's too intense. So I just thought it was a repeat of they can't find my dad while they're in his house and he's like in his bedroom. So I just like started explaining like, oh, are you in the kitchen? Do you see a door? You know, and they're like, yeah, he's not in there. I'm like, okay, that's weird. Like, that's strange. I was like, okay. And then I'm like, okay. Because like there's nowhere else he would be, because like what happens, like, so the front door is at the bottom of the house, and then you go up the stairs that are right in front of you as you like enter the house, and it comes right into like a hallway that's very open, so you can see, like, my dad always sits in a couch. You can see as soon as you just like get up a little bit in the stairs, you can see him sitting there, and that's where he always sits, and he's not there. And he's not, so like he's gonna be there in the bathroom or in his bedroom or kitchen. Like he's never on the bottom floor ever. So I was like, okay, and I couldn't really, so I couldn't think of where else he would be, like in the house, because there is no other place he usually is. Like, and they're, they would have checked the bathroom, right? So I was like, okay. And they're like, you have to call the cops. And I'm like, in my mind, first off, I'm not going to call, because they wanted me to call the emergency number. And I was like, okay, this is, for me, like, since I didn't know what was going on, this was completely new to me. And I had no idea how long they've been looking. I don't know where they've been looking. So it's like, have you checked the garage? Have you checked outside? Like, and apparently the home care who I didn't speak to had been looking all morning, she said, whatever the fuck that means. Don't get me wrong, she's probably great, whatever. But it's like, I don't think you've been looking all morning. That, first off, there's not enough, like, of the house to look at. Like, it doesn't take that long. And this is also the difference. This is the problem with having different companies and different people doing all the things. The home carers, they when you get home carers here, they install their own special locks. So they don't use a key to get in. They use, like, I don't know, like a weird, like, thing they just hold against it and it unlocks and locks. So they don't have any keys. And they had, they didn't install that on, like, the garage, of course. Why would they? But the home nurse I was talking to, she has a key. But she didn't check the garage. So I was very focused on that. But she said, no, but the home carer's been, like, banging on the door and no one's, like, opening. And I was like, yeah, but if he's collapsed in there, of course he's not going to open it. So I was like, okay. So I was like, I don't really remember, but, like, I was like, okay, I need to, because I was like, okay, I'll call a neighbor and see if they know something. Like, my dad's closest neighbors that he, like, helps him all the time and stuff. And the neighbor is in a completely different way, a different place. He's not home or anything, and he probably hasn't been home in a bit. And he's not gonna be home for a bit. Because he has injured himself in an accident, so he can't walk. So he's at his son's, like, way far away. I was like, shit. Oh my God, I'm so sorry. But, like, this is what's happening. Because, like, he definitely cares for my dad. So he's like, okay. And then he told me a bunch of stuff about other neighbors. My dad has been, like, ringing their doorbells and stuff and talking to them just, like, the night before. So then I start calling around the other neighbors. So I called the first neighbor the first neighbor told me he had been, like, ringing the doorbell of the previous day. And he's like, yeah, I'm already out looking for him. I'm like, okay, because he had probably seen the home carers and the home nurses just, like, fucking running around with their, heads cut off like chicken. That's kind of how he expressed it. And what I didn't know at this point was that the home carer had already left. Well, not the home carer, sorry, the home nurse. The home carer was still there. But the home nurse just fucked off. She had to go somewhere else. Like, I get it, you have other patients, but it's a little, like, weird. And so, and he's like, yeah, I'm out looking for him in the woods. Because, like, I've said this before, like, the house is right next to a forest. So I was like, okay, shit. What else? And then, because I wanted to talk, yeah, the home nurse told me before she hung up that, oh, I'll have the home carer call you, the lady, because she's still going to be here. But she didn't call me. She called my sister instead, which is fine, but I would have liked a call. Because the problem now I have is that I do not have a number for the home carers who are at my dad's house. I only have numbers that work, like, for the home nurses, and she's not there anymore. So I, like, called them again. I called, like, their office or something, and I think she calls me back, and she's like, yeah, I'm not there anymore. I'm like, oh. And I'm like, I'm on her about, like, did you check the garage? And, like, no, but the home care, she banged her door. Yeah, I'm like, yeah, but first, they don't have a key, but you have a key. And it should be the same key to the front door as it is to the garage. But she's like, oh, I'm not there. But if I have more time later, I will go back. I'm like, you're the one who told me to call the cops. And you're like, if I have time later, like, he could be out in the fucking forest dying. It is winter. It is weirdly hot. It actually got colder, like, from yesterday and now. Like, we're getting to, like, minus again. So I'm like, okay, this is weird. But, like, she can't do anything. And I was like, okay, whatever. Like, I'm not rude to her, but I'm like, okay. Hang up. And I am just desperately trying to find numbers for the home carers so I can get a hold of the lady that's at my dad's house to ask her, like, how long have you been there? And like, because it dawns on me that apparently no one has seen him. This is what I figured out. No one has seen him this day, which is worrying, of course, because she's probably the first person to visit him for the day. It's like, okay, because the home nurses are also early, so they would also be one of the first people to show up to his house in a day. And the thing is, I have numbers for the home carers, but I just thought they only worked during the weekdays, and one of the numbers only works in the weekdays. One of the other numbers I found out later does work at all times, but the lady who has it, it's still on her, like, free time on weekends. So she may or may not pick up. Because I've called it before on a weekend. And no answer. And I called it now, too. I let it ring for as long as it let me. Like, until, like, an answering machine kicks in. For both numbers. And no one picked up. And then, like, I'm so desperate. I'm Googling to find any number that would work. There's no numbers to be found for, like, weekends. Because, like, you can call the office open Mondays to Fridays. I'm like, well, that doesn't help me right now. It's a fucking Sunday. So I should send them feedback about that because it's crazy. Because, this is an emergency. There must be someone to call, right? Especially if they're there. But no, I can't find any fucking number. And I'm fucking good at Googling. Let me tell you. I've been doing it for years. But, like, I found one number, and it's the same number that I already have and tried calling before. And I also got another number from... Okay, this is also what happened. I called a number I've had in my phone book, like, for like, probably years at this point. It was to my dad's favorite home carer. And I called that, and she picked up. Because I just assumed it was a number to, like, one of their work phones. But I assumed it was to her personal phone then. Because she has been off, because she became a mom. She hasn't worked in 1.5 years. But I told her what's happening and stuff. And she's like, oh my God. Because, like, she really cares for my dad too. She really likes him. And I'm like, I'm so sorry. I did not mean, I thought this was just like a work phone and I just had it. So I just called it because I have no other numbers to call now. And then she found the number to give me. But the number that she gave me was the same one I already had. There are no numbers except this one number you can call. And once again, it's on this lady's free time. I understand it. I understand, like, it's her free time, it's the weekend. If she doesn't pick up, it is what it is. Like, I don't really blame her for that. But it is like, when it's an emergency, but it's more of like, she's like, oh, just, keep calling. She will be available for stuff like this. And I'm like, okay. And I do call it again, and she finally picks up. And then I don't really... Because she also tried to find a number to this lady who's at my dad's house. And she gives me she says, okay, I only have her personal number. You have to promise me to throw this out after you call it once. Because then she will give you her work number. I'm like, I promise. Like, why the fuck would I keep it, frankly? But also, I call this number and it's out of service. So the records she's reading from, like the number she probably gave them when she was hired, is just out of service. She doesn't use it anymore. So that doesn't help me. So I'm just like, what the fuck am I supposed to do? Like, I just need to talk to someone before I fucking call the emergency number. It's like, it's crazy how bad it was, like in terms of like trying to get a hold of this one person that I feel like should be like, no one has a fucking number for her, which is crazy to me. Like, I understand the lady, but apparently, you know, she must have gone into some kind of records to get the private number for this like person. So like, that's bad. That's pretty bad to me, but whatever. But then, so what happens then is I do actually call my sister eventually. And I'm not gonna lie, it did make me feel like I really don't want to do this. And I hesitated, but just for a second. And I was like, whatever. You know what? Fuck it. Because, like, who cares in this situation? Like, get over it. Like, it was really just a moment's hesitation, but it was there for a second. Because, you know, I hadn't talked to my sister in, like, probably 2 years now, more. So it was like, ugh, you know. But I did it. And I was like, hi, have you heard? And she's like, yeah, I heard. So, because the home care had called my sister, right? So she knew. And my sister had called the cops, and the home carer had also called the cops. But my sister said she had to... she had to like persuade the home carer to call the cops too. But what also, listen, my sister, you know, but whatever. I will give her some roses later on. But in this call, she was clearly still just like, fuck my sister. Fuck this lady. I hate this lady. Because she was like, and I was like, oh, yeah, they told me to call the cops. And she's like, I don't think you need to call the cops. Like, I don't think they need 3 but call. I'm like, okay. Like, I am not trying to start shit, so I'm not saying anything. But I'm like, okay, bitch. Oh, hey, Miss Marsh. How's it going? And hey, she... Honey. Hey, honey. Also, thanks, Miss Marsh. Thanks. Sorry. And... I was like, okay. And she says something that I just kind of fucking like, I don't give a shit. But she was like, yeah, and you know, since you're not here. And she was very, very like, and I was in my mind now, I'm like, yeah, fucking Mrs. Obvious. I haven't lived there for 22 years. Yes, of course I'm not there. Because I can be here, because, you know, you live, since you can't be here. I'm like, whatever. Like, she's just jabbing. And it's like, I just go, and then I was like, okay, but I just need the number for the home care, because she called you, right? You know, she told me. And she doesn't want to give it to me. In this situation, our dad is missing. We don't know how long he's been missing. No one knows where the fuck he is. But he's missing. And you've called the cops. But you don't want to give me the number to the home carer. And what she says is, no, because I'm worried you're going to hold up the line. And I'm like, my sister really just thinks I'm being super incompetent and like hysterical. Like, I'm dramatic, but I'm not fucking, like, especially in a situation like this, I fucking zone in. I lock in. Like, what can I do? Who can I call? Like, that's all I do. I'm not being on the phone, being, oh, and like holding it. Like, I just wanted to know stuff. That's it. And she might as well have called me first. Like, it just happened that she called her first. Or like she called her in general, because she was supposed to call me, but she called, you know. It's just because we're 2 sisters. They always mix it up. So I never got the number. And I told her, can we please not bicker and argue right now? And yeah, she just doesn't want to give me the number. I'm like, okay, whatever, you know. And she's like, I'll call you later. Because the home carer called her again during our call. So she's like, oh, they're calling now. I'll call you later. I'm like, okay. And this is also the thing. The home carer obviously has a cell phone. So if someone else calls her, if I'm talking to her and holding up the line... she would know someone else is calling her, like you know the home care is calling you during our call. You're just doing this because you're being a bitch. I'm sorry, but like, it's such a fucking sick thing to do during this situation. It's not about you, it's about Dad. It's about having, like, I need the information, see what I can, because I did a bunch of stuff she didn't do and she didn't know about. And I was like, yeah, I called neighbors and she's like, oh. I mean, yeah. Like, they're the ones who see him all the time. Why wouldn't I fucking call them? Like, oh, God. It pissed me off so bad. But at the same time, I was like, you know what? Fuck it. Because in my mind, I'm just like, it doesn't matter right now. We can be mad at each other for all eternity after this. But right now, I just wish she had the same kind of like, you know what? This is more important. I can be mad at her after we're done with all of this. But she didn't do that for that call. She just didn't. Hey, Deep, so you, how's it going? Whilst I was very like, I was hesitant to call her, but then I did. Because I was also unsure what she knew. I didn't know if the home care had called her or not, since I didn't hear anything else. So I also wanted her to know. Because, I feel like she should know. She has the right to know. So it was both. But then she just, like, does shit like that. And I'm like, I don't know what to do with this. There is, like, what the fuck? This is sick behavior. Like, you're ill. Like, you're just cold. You have no empathy or nothing. Like, what's wrong with you? Like, that's all I can think about. Once again, I will give her some roses later. Give me, but yeah, and then it's just like a waiting game. Because, the cops need to show up and stuff. And it's not that long afterwards. I can't remember how long it was, but it wasn't long. And then I get a text that they found him. It's still unclear who found him. It was like an elderly couple, and I don't know who that couple is. Because I don't think there's a couple like that on the street. So it's a small street. So I don't know who they were. But I don't know. There was like commotion, I guess. So, fucking this small fucking street that has like, you can only fit one car on the street. And then there's like what do you call it? Oh, in English. A roundabout at the end or whatever. It's a cul-de-sac at the end, so and then there's a forest entrance. He was in the forest. He had fallen. I don't know exactly what the state of him, like when they found him or where they found him. I assume he didn't get that far because they found him pretty quickly, like from, I guess, when this elderly couple started looking. And also my dad doesn't really walk, like, well. So I figured he probably didn't get that far. But he might have gone into the forest because, there's clearly like a path you can walk on. It's like a road in the forest. But I don't know if he was like in the forest or just like on the road somewhere. Not that it matters, but whatever. But he had fallen. So he had like cuts and bruises and stuff on his face and I think his legs and stuff. I don't know, his arms, not his legs, because he probably wore pants. So yeah. So they found him. He was kind of cold, but he wasn't, it wasn't that big of a deal. He seemed fine, basically, weirdly. But they took him in an ambulance to, one of the big emergency hospitals, like in the middle of Stockholm, kind of. And my sister then texted me, I'm not setting up. What did she tell me? I can't remember if I called her or she called me. Somehow she was like, "Oh, I'm going to the hospital, and I'll call you when I'm there so you can talk to him," which was very nice of her, and I do genuinely appreciate that. Because in my mind, I was like, well, that's all. I'm gonna have to just call the ward and stuff eventually, and because but she did call, so I got to talk to him, and he was fine. He seemed fine. He was definitely confused. Definitely confused. But other than that, pretty, he had energy. And he was just confused about what happened, or, he was still kind of in the mode of, oh, your mom's in the forest. Because, that's the only reason he goes into the forest, because he's looking for my mom. Because he thinks she's out there, like, injured. And she needs help. First, this is the, like, terrible thing about dementia, since it fills in gaps. My mom has never done this. My mom would, first off, never go out into the forest alone. She would never go out into the forest in the dark. Like, it's just never happened before. But this is something, it's been years now we've been doing this. But usually he calls me before he goes out, or he goes and rings the doorbell of the neighbor whose leg is fucked up. So he might have done that, and, he's not opening. And he probably couldn't call me because his phone was off. So that meant he just went for it. Because, it's his wife. He cares deeply for her, obviously. It makes sense in that sense. But that's the terrible thing about the illness. Because, you hear about elderly people do this all the time. They just walk out the door. They just fuck off. And, then they die. Because they fall, because of the temperature, stuff like that. When they're like that, they're usually pretty frail. So yeah, he's just looking for her. That's otherwise he wouldn't go out into the forest if he didn't have that, like, the worrying part this time is usually he just goes a very short, like, right to the end of the cul-de-sac, and then he goes back home. There's something telling him that he's like, oh, this is fine, I should go back now. But he didn't do that this time. He just kept going. Probably didn't fall, not far, like I said, but he also fell, so, But yeah, it is worrying. But, like, the two things that he has to do to not do this, god damn it, there's a band invader, didn't work this time. We weren't available, or, like, I was available, but, the phone was probably off. So yeah, so that happened, but then I called the hospital because my sister was like, yeah, he's fine, and he's at the emergency room. He probably has to wait for a bit because, he's not, like, really in any emergency. Like, he has some pain in his hips and stuff, and he has some cuts and bruises, but, like, he'll just be here waiting for his turn. Like, there's nothing, like, he has to go in now, which is fair. Yeah, exactly, Miss Harmwick. So what I think happened was, since the TV was on, the thing is, the only thing my dad does is watch TV all day, unless he goes to the old people daycare, but that's only Tuesdays and Thursdays. But so the fact that the TV was on means that I think he woke up, went and sat down in front of the TV, fell asleep, which he always does, woke up. And usually what happens is he's dreamed of her, like his wife, my mom. And she used to always sit in a couch next to him, in a different couch. Hey, matey, how's it going? So that's what always happens. It's the same process every time. And he starts by going around the house, shouting for her. And then, he gets the idea, like, the sickness, the illness is like, oh, she's in the forest. She needs my help. She's injured. And since it's still, it's winter, so it was probably still dark out. Because, like, it only gets bright here at, like, 9 a.m. And like I said, they call me, like, 9 a.m. or something, like 9:30 maybe, like, early. I think it was latest 10. I think it was earlier than that. But, like, which means, and, they told me they had been searching for a while, so she had probably been out while it was dark, because this also only happens when it's dark outside. He never really gets these ideas while it's bright outside. Once again, the illness works in mysterious ways, I guess. I don't know. I guess it makes sense, because, darkness, she's out there alone in the darkness, in the cold, whatever. So yeah, he probably went out like early morning, and the fact that he wasn't that like cold means he's probably not been out for too long, which was a fucking saving grace. Because yeah, you know, if he had been out for more hours, who knows? Like my dad's, he's old and he's pretty frail. Like he's doing well, like health wise, but he's lost a lot of weight and stuff, and you know, just the fact that he gets confused and stuff, and you know, you have a cognitive like weakness with dementia, of course. So who knows how that would affect the rest of the body and the body's ability to keep you alive, kind of thing. But yeah, he probably hadn't been out for too long, thankfully, and you know, since it was bright out when they started looking for him, he was probably pretty easy to spot, which was also thankful. But yeah, so I talked to him when I was waiting in the emergency room. I think he was on a stretcher with my sister there, so I was probably on speaker. And I told him, "Oh, you were out looking for mom again," and I, you know, I tried to have the conversation with him of like, she's dead, you know, and stuff. Like this conversation I've had with him over several years now, many times a year. It's been so many times. You guys have heard about it. And my sister goes, "There's no convincing him," which is her way of saying, stop talking about it. It's not gonna help. And you know what? In this situation, once again, I'm like, I don't want to fight, so I stopped talking about it. Because the thing is, I know there is a convincing, you can convince him of it eventually. It just takes a little while. Because, like I said, I've had this conversation with him a million fucking times. I know exactly, I can write the script. I can tell you what he's going to tell you, you know. But she very clearly was like, there's no convincing him, which is usually how she deals with it. There's no point, he doesn't remember anyway, kind of thing, which is like, that's how she handles it. I don't really like that, but whatever. But like I said, I didn't want to fight, I didn't want to like bicker, I didn't want to make anything, like, the situation doesn't need it. Once again, we can be fucking mad at each other later on. Like, we just need to get through this. So I just let it go. I didn't say anything, I was like, okay. So yeah. Oh yeah, he never goes into the woods. I mean, he's lived there since the 70s, so like, it's not like we don't know it, but like, it's not like he goes into the woods ever. So, you know. Yeah, that's how I stop him. That's why, like, when he calls me about it, I tell him what reality is. Oh, she's dead. She's been dead this many years. And he goes, how many years? And like stuff like that. And then we talk about mom, and you know, it's the same conversation every time. It's always the same. And then he feels calm, you know, because in the end, he goes out because he has anxiety. He's worried. Of course you would go outside. It makes complete sense. Trying to look for your loved one. You're thinking they're injured in the forest for whatever reason. But I just tell him, no, she's dead. She's been dead this many years. And we talk about that. And, you know, and he's like, oh, and, you know, he says this, not every time, but regularly. Oh, I'm so glad I talked to you. Now I can calm down. I can be calm. And then he can, like, go back to bed, because it's usually, like, in the middle of the night he calls. Yeah, but like, I was surprised that she did that for me. Like, she called me and let me talk to him. So like, to be honest, you know, I appreciated that, like, genuinely. Like, I can be as, but like, you know, that was very nice of her, because she didn't need to do that. She could have still been mad as fuck and just not have done that. So I am grateful for that. And I told her, I really appreciate that you did this. Like, thank you. And I don't know if she thinks that I'm being manipulative, because she thinks like, I don't know. She thinks I'm incompetent, hysterical, and like manipulative. Which is like, yeah, I don't know what to do with that. Which is, it's just so interesting to have that, because like, we've never been close, really. And she moved out when she was 18. She's 6 years older than me. So I was 12 when we still lived together. Like, that was the last time. And I moved out to a completely different city, like far away when I was 16. So we've never been close. We've never been in each other's lives much or anything. We haven't been like talking regularly, nothing. So it's just like, but she thinks I'm this manipulative, hysterical, incompetent person. Which is like, I don't know how you would know all of those things, but sure. Like the fact that in the end, I think my sister's very intelligent. She's very competent, but she's hella fucking mad, which is just something she's been since our childhood up till now. So that I do know for a fact. And she's clearly still mad. So, you know, I don't know how else to like deal. Like, you know, you gotta be careful. You gotta be careful. And I know since I know her, like since I grew up with that behavior, I know how that works, and I know when I need to shut up, and like it's more of like I'm done with doing it. But like in this situation, I will do it. I will just keep my mouth shut if I don't want her to get mad at me. I don't want anything to happen, because like I just need to know what's up with Dad, you know. And I did really appreciate that she let me like talk to him there. She like said she didn't need to do that, so you know. Good job, sister, I guess. General home care service, so they're specialized for Alzheimer's. They're not specialized for Alzheimer's, I don't think, but they have several patients that have it. I'd imagine. It's like a national, how do I put it? It's like a county thing. You're only some of those things, yeah. Most people are identical to 12-year-old selves. Yeah, I know. So it's just one of those, I don't know. So, and you know, we hang up, and then, because I'm like, okay, I'll call them a little bit later, since this is like early, when he's probably been, because he needs to get x-rays and stuff, because of course he fell, he's an old man, and he has pain. So I'll call the hospital later, because I doubt she'll be there the whole time, and also, frankly, I don't necessarily need to call her again. But I didn't think about that, to be honest. I was just like, I'll just call the hospital later when he's probably had his x-rays and, you know, he's in a ward, and just see what they say. And I do. And like, my dad's so cute. So I called them, and they're like, oh, and I tell them like his social security number and stuff like that. And they're like, oh, you need to talk to the other nurse. Let me get her. So she gets her. And she's like, hi. I'm like, yeah, how is he? And she's like, oh, he's fine. Like, he's like, there's nothing broken or like nothing, you know. He's actually right next to me eating a cheese sandwich. I'm like, oh. That's great. He's like, yeah, and drinking coffee. I'm like, oh, well, that's great. Like, you know, he's eating and drinking. And she's like, oh, yeah, we booked a transport for tomorrow to, like, the geriatric hospital, like, that's closer to his home, where that's where he was last time, too. And they only send them there, you know, if they're doing, like, well, basically, but they still need some time to recuperate a little bit. They need some watching in case something happens, but it's not like an emergency anymore, because that hospital is like an emergency hospital. So he's like stable enough to just like, yeah, you can just go. And I hear him in the background, so I know he's fine. I didn't talk to him then, but he's just talking, and he seems fine. He has energy. I'm like, oh, great. So yeah. So I called him today. At the new hospital, and yeah, he's very confused. He's very confused. I don't think he remembers that he was in the forest at all, which is kind of scary. But yeah, I got to talk to him. We talked for like 9 minutes. But during those 9 minutes, I told him where he was and what had happened, and he asked, because he's right like by the like nurses station or whatever, and like sitting in the hallway there or something, and I tell him where he is, and he doesn't believe me, so he asked the nurses, and he does that twice during our 9-minute call, which is worrying, you know, that he just like, he has no recollection of what happened at all, I think. And so of course, with all of this happening, it did make me have to consider, okay, he probably needs to be in a home. Because before this had been stable, like I said, it's been months since like like he was on the clear that, you know, my mom's dead and stuff like that. He seemed very like clear about a lot of things, but then this happened, and there are several like new things that happen now that very much indicates that he's had a sudden, like, maybe not sudden, but like at least, you know, it has to happen one day, right, where he's gone worse. So, and don't get me wrong, like I said, I'm not against my dad being in a home, not at all. I think he'll be happy in a home. I think, you know, he likes people, but it's more of a that, like, he's still aware enough that he's gonna realize that he's not home. So, like, it's sad. It's just kind of sad because I'm sad for him, and I'm worried, you know, there's gonna be a lot of anxiety probably for him, you know, and he's gonna feel like, oh, we're just putting him away kind of thing. So, you know, of course I'm worried about that. But I've never been against him being at home. I just didn't think it was time yet. But now with this happening, I think there's time now. So I'm going to tell the lady, I was like telling her that I don't think it's time yet. That I'm like, oh, I changed my mind because this happened. Because, yeah, like I said, this had been dormant for a while. Like, I wasn't worried about this. Because it goes in waves. And like I said, I used to have the kind of, the fact that he called me or he went and rang someone's doorbell, and also the fact that it didn't go far before, like all of those things made me feel not safe about. I still knew it was a risk, but the risk felt pretty small, because, you know, this has been a thing for years at this point. But the fact that he, first off, with both the neighbor being gone and he probably not being able to call me, those two things failed. So the third thing would be that he just doesn't go that far, but he went that far this time. Like, he probably would have went further if he didn't fall. So, you know, that's very worrying. So yes, that is a risk, and someone needs to, like, make sure that, yeah, because, like, we can't lock him in his house. Also fire hazard. Since a lot of these things happen at night or like super early mornings and stuff, and there's no personnel there at that time. So yes, but in the end, we're still gonna have to live with this for a while, because, like, even if we want to put him in a home, it's still a process that takes a little bit. Like, it's not like, oh, we just have an open slot for you here, you know. And, you know, there's a whole move involved, and, like, there's probably a bunch of things involved, you know. So, but yeah, you know, I'm going to be open and talk to that lady about it and be like, yeah, you know what, it probably is time. It probably is time, actually. I changed my mind because, like, I thought this wasn't a thing. That would be like this dangerous at this point. It hadn't been for like months and months, but clearly, you know, it is a thing, and he needs someone to, like, you know, he needs to be in a place where there's always like someone there. So that's sad, but, you know, rather him safe in the end, right? So yeah. But like I said, it's probably going to take quite a while, like, well, months at least, for that to happen. Because also now, since it's like Christmas and shit. But they're going to keep him in the hospital, I believe, over the holidays, you know. But I think the hospital is also going to push for, like, him ending up in a home. And my sister, in the text, she did actually, because that's also one of the more roses. She just sent me a text today updating me about everything she knew. And I was like, oh, I was very surprised once again, because I just assumed we're going back to not talking now that Dad's safe. So I was, once again, very grateful. She didn't really tell me anything I didn't know, but I hadn't told her anything I knew because I thought we were just not talking again. So I didn't really try, because, like, oh, I was like, oh, I wasn't, so she, you know, but she told me stuff, and I'm like, oh. But like I said, she didn't tell me anything I didn't know, really. But whatever. It was still a nice gesture. I will give her that. You know, that was nice of her. She didn't need to do that once again. Very nice of her. But yeah, she also wrote then that, like, you know, she talked again about applying for a home and stuff like that. And this is the thing. I really very much read that and decided not to say anything about it. Even if I agree with her, I don't want to do anything to now, like, because, like, if I can't, like, once again, it's the thing of, like, just, we don't have to fight and bicker. And I don't want to add to that. I really don't want that in my life, genuinely. Because, like, even if I agree with her, if I don't agree with her in the same way or as much, I feel like she could still be mad at me. And, like, in my mind, I was like, you know what? I'm not going to say anything about that, which I didn't. I was just like, thanks for the update. And I was like, I talked to him today. And, like, the things that happened, like, factually, that I talked to him, you know. And so, yeah. And I was like, happily, you know, because she was like, because she did write something at the end of the text that made me feel like, oh, maybe she has empathy. I'm sorry. Like, in the end, this is, in her defense, this is what I meant. Like, it goes both ways, right? I don't know my sister that well. Like, she doesn't know me that well. But I feel like we both, when we're mad at each other, feel like we know each other more than we do. Don't get me wrong. She's still mad. She's still an angry, angry person. But that's also because she's been that her whole life. I grew up with that. That hasn't changed. She's just older now. And I'm older. But that hasn't changed. And did I used to be a manipulative little shit when I was a kid? 100%. I was spoiled rotten. Like, my parents clearly, like, babied me a lot more and stuff like that, and I knew I could get away with shit, so yes. But am I like that now? No. I haven't been like that for a long time, but she doesn't know that, I guess. And I think she thinks, you know, since I have so many mental problems and I don't work, oh, she's incompetent, you know. And the fact that I have anxiety, oh, she's hysterical. Which is like, I don't know. Because, like, when serious shit like this happens, I lock in. If anything, it helps me with my anxiety. Because I have one thing to focus on instead of every other little thing. Because, like, my problem is I have anxiety about everything. So I can't, like, be in the moment kind of thing. I'm just like, I have anxiety about everything. But when stuff like this happens, it forces me to, like, lock in and just, I have one problem to solve right now. That's what we're doing. So if anything, I feel more, like, weirdly calm with stuff like this. Because I just have, like, I know what I need to do. Like, I have a goal. I'm working towards it. There's nothing else that exists for this moment. But, I mean, she wouldn't know that in the end. But yeah, I think she wrote, like, at the end of the text, like, oh, but, and so now you know, like, that's, like, fine or taken care of or something. But in a way that felt like she was, like, being empathetic. And I was like, oh, that was weirdly nice and empathetic of her. Great, I guess. Because, like, once again, I don't want to be like, I'm going to hate on everything she does. I'm just going to hate on most of it. But, like, when she's showing stuff like that, I'm like, oh, that's nice, you know. It's just surprising. Which I guess could be like a jab, but it is genuinely surprising. Because, like, she doesn't do stuff like that, generally. Like, that's what I mean. I get surprised when she's, like, being empathetic. I'm like, oh, that's surprising. Like, the fact that she sent the text about it, I was like, oh, that was surprising. I mean, she clearly cares about people. She has a family and her son and stuff, and she really loves her son. I have nothing to say about that relationship. Once again, I don't really know much about her son at this point because he's an adult. He's like 18 or something. But, like, in the end, it's just that thing of, you know, we don't get along. We've never really been close. But we just know we don't get along, I guess. But yeah, so I'll just, you know, I'm going to call my dad once a day. Like, he didn't get his phone with him, so I have to call, like, the ward and, you know, I hope they don't think I'm a bother. It's not like I want to talk to him for, like, hours and hours. But just be like, hey, Dad, how are you doing? You know, what's happening? How are you feeling? And now, especially since it's the holidays and he's going to be there for, you know, the holidays. I feel like that makes sense. But yeah. Oh yeah, and I kept like people updated. I've kept like the neighbors updated with this, and I kept our English cousin. I told her we had a call like over Messenger since she's in England, so we talked about it for a while. I actually also called one of the neighbors, because the first neighbor I called with the fucked up leg, he told me that he gave my dad's number to another neighbor that they share, like, how do I put it? Like my dad's backyard, and then their house is above the backyard, basically. And we've known them since I was a kid. And that neighbor only had my dad's like landline number, and he hasn't had a landline in, well, what is it, 2 years now? Because like landlines are not a thing here anymore, I guess. Just how they work. So there was no point like keeping it, because you need another phone, which is basically a cell phone. It just has your landline number, so it's like stupid. So we only had that number. So the first neighbor with the fucked up leg gave that number to him, and he had talked to him just like a few days before, or something like that. And he was like, "Yeah, he sounded really, he had energy and stuff, and he sounded great." They had probably not talked in a while. So I called him just to see if my dad was still looking. So I just called him to see if he was there. Just to see if it was anywhere, So I got to talk to him again. I hadn't talked to him in a while, and he's a very nice man. Well, him and his family. So yeah. Oh shit! Did I forget to tell him that he was found? I can't remember. I forgot to tell him. Because I figured, because this is the guy with the fucked up leg, the neighbor with the fucked up leg, talks to everyone. He's like that guy. He's also the guy who keeps a track of everyone coming and going on the street. Like, he knows everything that's going on the street at all times, usually. But now, since he doesn't know. So I just kind of figured they would talk to eventually. I don't know. Okay, Miss Armory, thanks for showing up. Yeah, you take care too. But yeah, so all's well right now, I guess. My dad's bruised and he has wounds and stuff, but like nothing serious. And he's walking around and stuff like that, so he's fine. So yeah, it could have been so much worse. I mean, I could only I do kind of wonder if if say it was like super cold outside and like icy and snowy and stuff, maybe he wouldn't have gone. Maybe he wouldn't have gone out to begin with, or he wouldn't have gone that far, because he's unsteady. I don't know. In the end, it doesn't really, the what ifs don't really matter, because we're you can think about those things all you want, but in the end, this is what happened. So yeah. But yeah, he'll be fine, I'm sure, unless something happens at the hospital, which would be fine. Don't get me wrong, I don't want anything to happen, but if something happens, he's at the right place, kind of thing. It'll probably take months, I would assume. Especially now with the holiday, so we're gonna lose time for that, and then yeah, because they have to, yeah. I'd assume it takes a little bit at least. Because I don't know, if I also tell this lady who's deciding, yeah, I think you should be in home, then there's really no one that's objecting or anything except himself. Because in the end, it is voluntary. My dad still understands enough to be like, oh, I'm not at home. I want to be at home. So I don't know which way is going to go for that. How much they weigh certain things, what he wants and what would be best for him. Because in the end, even if something's not the best for you, typically you have the right to fuck up your life all you want. That's the freedom we all pretty much have. But when it comes to this, then it becomes a thing of well, what does he want? What will be best for him? He's clearly sick, and what are the risks, kind of thing. because my sister was like, yeah, I don't think the things he has, like going on the home carers and the home nurses, is enough anymore. Oh, excuse me. Power attorney or something? Yeah. I mean, this is the thing. I'm glad I never dealt with his economy or his money or anything. I couldn't deal with that. Like, I'm glad I wasn't approved for that. I'm still insulted why I wasn't approved for it, but I'm glad I wasn't approved. I'm not standing up. We're not doing that today. But I also don't think my sister should have been approved, I guess, with what happened. But that's hindsight. Because, like, on paper, she's, like, the perfect person. She's a fucking, I don't know, accountant or something, you know, economist. Like, it all makes sense. But, like, in reality, it wasn't great. Not for her either, to be honest. She was stressed out of her fucking mind. So, you know. But, yeah, so now, also, I will say, on Saturday, I think, or when was it? I've been calling, like, a helpline. I called them today, too. Because, you know, I need someone to talk to. And every time I look up, like, oh, I would need someone to talk to right now. And then you look up, like, a time in, like, apps for, like, talking to a psychologist, and there's no times. So then you just call, like, these helplines. And the thing is, they're great. They're great. But yeah, I called one today. And we talked for like, I don't know, like 20 minutes or something. And then the call just like went dead. Like it just like hung up. And no one called me back. And I was like, well, I guess that's it. Like I didn't really feel like I wanted to like call back and like wait and have to talk to a new person and explain what's going on. So it's like, no, not time. I don't think they have time limits. Because, like, I talked a little longer to the other person the first time. So this is, like, I didn't know about this helpline. Apparently, this helpline started last year in December. That's probably, because otherwise I know all the helplines. Well, I also found out, they told me about a new one. Or, like, another one. But it's a church thing. So I'm always like, I don't know how I feel about that. But they're like, you know, you don't have to be religious to call them. I know, but it feels weird. Like, I don't know who's answering. I don't know if they're, like, religious and stuff. And how they're, like, I don't know. I don't want to step into that. Click, yeah. Also, this lady, I told her about my money problems. And then, like, I'm looking for a job and stuff. Well, I'm looking to get back into working, rather. And she basically told me something that I feel would have been... It wouldn't have been illegal straight up, but it would have been weird to do. She was like, oh, can't you take, like, a simple, like, high school course? And I'm like, can you do that even though you have, like, been to university stuff? Which means I finished high school. Like, I have all the grades I need. She's like, yeah, if you just tell them that you need this course for a different university course, like, to get into. Because she said, then you can take a really simple high school course and also work 50%. Because I talked about this before, where you need to have a 50, like, if you're trying to find a job here that is like a 50%, at, you know, not a full time, but 50%, not usually, like, always, because it's the, like, the temp agencies. They have, so I figured that, I don't know why I didn't Google this before, but I Googled it today, I think. And so they require you to have 50% like other stuff you're doing. So a 50% other job or studying typically. I don't know what else there will be. And that's because of unions, and you're not supposed to, like, I don't know, so people can't take advantage of you or, like, abuse something. It's a whole thing. But I was like, oh, and that's why they all have that. So that's why she was like, take a simple high school course, and then you can also get money for studying, not like the loan, because in Sweden you can take, when you study and you can either take a loan and then you get a little free extra if you're doing it full time. You get, like, extra money on top of that just for free. You don't owe them that. or you can just take the free part. And they have that both if you're studying for like, what do you call it? Well, like, you know, if you don't have any, like if you need to study for, oh God, like elementary stuff, like if you completely miss something, you need to get back for that. They do, and for high school stuff and for, you know, university and college stuff, of course. It's not that much money. It's like $120 a month or something if you do it for full time, like the free part. I mean, the loan isn't that much either, but it's a good loan. The loan is like 1% interest or something. So, you know, but because I told her I don't want to take a loan, which also would feel fucked up in my situation. Like my biggest problem is I credit debt. Like taking another loan seems stupid. But yeah, so she basically was like, "Can't you do that?" And I was like, I don't know if I could deal with that, because like then I would be still working 50% and studying 50%, which would be like full time. And she asked me like, "Do you think you could do a full time job?" I'm like, I really don't think so, because otherwise I would have done it. But also I don't think she realized, because I looked it up after. I also didn't realize because I haven't been studying for a while, clearly. But like to get that free money part, it has to be a full-time study thing. You can't just like, oh, I'm studying 50%, then you don't get nothing, I don't think. Instead of bankrupting, crazy, I know, right? People, like I've said this before, but like I've heard of people, I think I've known people that took this student loan because it's such a good loan and invested it into renovating their apartments and stuff. Because, yeah, it's worth it. But, yeah. But, yeah. So I was looking at jobs today again, and I found some part-time jobs at working in, like, what do you call it? A warehouse, you know, packing and stuff. And I was like, I could probably do that depending on how much heavy lifting it requires. Because I couldn't do heavy lifting for like 8 hours a day. But also since it was part-time, I was like, I don't know, because it didn't specify how much. But it was like, it could be any time basically, so weekends and stuff. Because I was like, okay, if I work 2 weekends, like if I work every weekend and then, you know, I have the weekdays off, or like I'm sick, you know. What if I do that? But once again, they once again said, this is perfect if you have another job or studying. So I've emailed them asking, okay, but do you require me to have any of those other things going on? So I'm waiting for I assume I won't get an answer until after the holidays. Because otherwise, typically they write in the ad that they require you to have those things on the side. Like, if you're gonna, you know, because it helps them clearly. Like, otherwise anyone can, like, if you don't put that in, that you need to have 50% something else going on, then you're gonna get a lot of applicants that just more job for you. Oh, excuse me, burps. So yeah, because like I'm like, yeah, I could probably work in a warehouse, and especially if it's like, because, you know, I would work the days, basically I would try and work as few days as possible, because once again I'm still not doing well, but then so if I work like every weekend, I could probably do that, and then I also get the most money because it's a weekend, right? And if it's like in the middle of the night or something, I could also do that. If anything, I prefer that over early mornings. So, you know, yeah. But once again, they probably require me to do other stuff 50%. So, also in the end, I don't know if I would be able to do that. I'm just like guessing. Since I haven't been working for so long now, it's been a few years. Who knows? But I was also thinking in a warehouse, like, you know, you just do the same thing repetitive. It's not going to be like difficult labor typically, I guess. And you just show up, you do your job, and you get out. It's not enough time to be like, making a bunch of friends and stuff, because I don't, once again, that also, it gives me kind of anxiety to think about getting into workplace and like meeting a bunch of new people and being like, oh, colleagues and in the lunchroom and stuff like that. I really just kind of want to go to work, talk to no one, and go home and then earn my money, which is, I guess, the problem to begin with, the isolation. But that's kind of what I want to do. Because, like, yeah, it's just, I need money. Like, this is what I figured out, right? With me traveling more now, and also with the rent increase that I had to pay, like, I have to start paying now, of course. I am losing. I now have more, what do you call it? Well, I have to spend like $55 more a month on those things. Just the tram tickets are almost $30 a month, which is crazy. And since I was already struggling paying my bills, like, we're just adding and I'm getting no more money. So I will have to start taking away. Like, there were several things I was gonna buy initially for like the discounts this week. Nope. Like, I'm gonna have to drastically reduce my groceries, I think. That's the only play. Like, well, that, and also be super fucking careful about buying games for stream. That, it's just those two things are the only things I really can like cut back on. Because like, I don't buy makeup regularly. I buy makeup when it runs out, and makeup typically lasts pretty long. So I don't see that as a big problem. But sure, it'll be a big problem when I run out of foundation. I have to buy one for like, I don't know. Foundation is super expensive now. But like, yeah. Because yeah, I am, once again, I'm not going to go into exactly. Because don't give me, like, no one needs to give me money. I'll figure it out, I guess. I don't know how, but I'll figure it out. But like, the cycle right now is, since I'm buying everything on credit, is, oh, I cannot pay all these bills for this month. Let's move some bills to next month. Which also means I will never catch up. That's the constant cycle right now. Well, that's gonna be now. This is like the first month. Since I didn't know what my rent increase was before. And to be honest, I was like, I know what it was, and then I didn't think about it much. I really just thought about the maths like yesterday or today. I was like, oh shit. Oh, well, yeah, I don't, So, I need to work. It's like, there's no other solution. So I just have that stress as well. Like, there's so much going on. Like, I frankly, I don't know how I'm upright, but that's also why I'm calling helplines. Because I'm like, I don't know what to do with this. There's too many things going on that I have to like, but at the same time, I'm very determined to like get to working somehow and earning money. But I also know that I can't do full time. Because first off, I wouldn't stay there for a long time. So I wouldn't earn like enough money anyway. Like, I still need to do something where I can stay for a bit so I can like have money. Because if I jump into a full-time job now, I'm going to crash within a week. And it's going to be terrible. Like, the people who hired me and stuff like that, if anyone hires me. Like, I don't need that, and I'm gonna feel like shit about myself and stuff. Oh, of course I couldn't have done this, and like, So that's just super unrealistic right now. Yeah, me too, thanks. Mate, it's your games, you do what you want. It's just like, I want to play a lot of games that I see on Twitter, which means they're usually new. So they're not on Humble. This is my problem. But and I'm not talking about AAA stuff, but indies. But they add up. Oh, it's only $20. That's great. And then it's like, oh well, it was pretty short. Now I need a new game, kind of thing. But yeah, like, once again, I don't know. I feel weird about talking about the money because I really don't want people to be like, oh, you know, I need to give money because I'll figure it out. The problem for me is this, that it's such a long wait to talk to this fucking work specialist, so they can put me into work training, and then I can probably, if I get to work training and I can like do it, then I can probably speed up the process and go, hey, I actually want to look for a real job now, or like, can you help me find like an actual, like, because this like specialist probably has some connections so they can get me hired somewhere, is my thinking. Like, it's my way in from, because if I show up now, because I don't know if anyone would hire me. I've never been in this situation before because I haven't worked in years. I mean, technically I worked not that long ago for The Escapists, but you know, I don't know if I want to put that on my CV. It's not really relevant, I think. I'll probably mention it, but yeah. So yeah, I've never been in this situation before, really. I've been like, yeah, I've been unemployed for a while, I just haven't found a job, you know. But that's different too. I've been so sick I haven't been able to work for years, you know. It's very different. Like, if I'm thinking as a recruiter, I'll be like, I don't want to hire this person, this is a high risk, it's not going to work out, and then that's more work for us, and our customer needs someone to work for them, and it doesn't work out, that's going to look bad on us, you know. Community support is a thing that is skills that, yeah, it is, but like, it's not going to be relevant for the jobs I'm going to look for, probably. But that's the thing, I already have the jobs I'm going to look for, except like, I've never worked in a warehouse. That would be it. But at the same time, not to be like that, but how many, like, what qualifications do you need for that? Sure, you need to be able to like do physical stuff. But once again, like, yes, I could not do like heavy lifting all day, every day, stuff like that. But could I do it for 2 days? Sure. But like, it depends, like, what's heavy lifting? You know, like, what are we talking about? Because if we're just packing some stuff for like orders, I feel like that wouldn't be too bad. Depending on what it is we're packing, I guess. Oh, I could easily lift 25 kilo. Easily. I really could. It's more of a like, can I do it over and over again, I guess. Because I have no real stamina, but I can lift real heavy shit. But I can only do it like for a second. Like, I'm very strong, I just don't have any like endurance or stuff like that. Yeah, I mean, but like, if you're working in a warehouse here, and depending who the customer is, because it's usually a temp agency that handles hiring, you know, you could just be packing small orders. So it's more of that. I just would need to know, you know, which it is. For his packing, you wouldn't know under this shirt. But yeah, so yeah, it's just like, I need this process to be faster. Like, I need money now, kind of thing. Because my thinking is also this, like, I want to see my dad, you know, at home before he goes into a home, and I spend a week with him. It might be the last, every time I meet him, it might be the last time I see him in the end, or the last time he remembers me, because, you know, that's going to start eventually, that he forgets me. So I would really, you know, like, oh shit, I just got a text. Oh no, he's gonna get food stuff. I have to tell them about that. Because my dad gets groceries delivered to his store. Damn, I'm gonna have to tell the home carers about that they have to pick it up. Because, like, otherwise it's just gonna be outside. I don't know. To be honest, for everything that's going on in my life, I didn't think about that. Everything I'm trying to do for myself and for my dad, and everything I have to keep up with, even though, you know, I have all this time, but I do all the things that are necessary. And I, you know, I haven't ended up in hospital yet. I just wish I had more support support from the system kind of thing, I guess. Like mental health stuff. But I am doing all the things. I'm trying to do what's right for my dad. I'm trying to do what's right for me. And I'm also trying to get out there again. I'm trying to but it's just, it's so frustrating to be ready for it. And the system is like, no, you gotta wait. There's an 8 to 9 months wait. Or like 4 to 5 months. Like the other work specialist that I texted, that I told you about before, she texted me back going, yeah, I'll talk to you in late January. And that doesn't mean we're gonna meet and everything's gonna start then. It's just like the first conversation. So it's just very frustrating. And it like being motivated this whole time is like the only motivation I have right now is like, yeah, I don't know how to pay my bills, and also I want to see my dad. Like, so I do have some strong motivators, but it's like, just be shellfish. I guess I can't really be too shellfish. So yeah, it's just, also don't get me wrong, like people have been very generous to me. I've gotten some money just as a Christmas present, which has frankly saved my ass this month. I'm not, how else, because like I've already moved 2 bills to next month, which means that next month I'm already fucked, and I'm still adding bills to next month. But that's what I mean. I'm drastically gonna have to reduce my groceries now. Like, I don't know what else. But you know what? I need to eat less. Also, absolutely buying no candy, no like snacks, no nothing. We'll see how well that goes. But like, I'm gonna have to just super reduce some of that. There's nothing else I can really do. I have nowhere else I can just be like, yeah, I can stop doing this, or like, you know, sure, I could stop doing YouTube Premium, I guess, but like, it's not even that much money in that sense. It's the groceries I would have to reduce on. Like, actual food. Don't get me wrong, I need to stop buying like unhealthy, like sugary snacks and stuff like that, which, yeah, I have no choice. Thankfully, now I have Kong for a long time, so that will be fine for a while. But yeah, like the things I had on my list, like for discounts this week, wasn't like, there were several things that, like Brussels sprouts, a bag, $1. Took that off the list. Sausages, like we have like mini sausages for Christmas. They're basically just normal sausages but smaller, but it's like a tradition. $1.5. Took that off the list. Like the only thing I have left, and what was it else? Oh, there was some meat that was definitely expensive, like pork tenderloin or something, but it was a discount for $9.9 per kilo, I think. What else was it? Oh, clementines, like a basket of clementines was like $3. Took that off the list. So what's left now is butter, because I'm running out of butter, so I do need that. And you don't want to buy butter here unless it's on discount. Let me tell you, it's so expensive. And what else? I'm still debating whether to buy cherry tomatoes that are also on discount, and then like feta cheese to make the TikTok pasta. Both things are, well, all of those things are on discount. So it's just gonna be this, you know. But that's what, you know, the only upside is if I don't have things I want to eat at home, I just won't eat probably. So maybe I'll just lose weight that way, and then I don't have to do keto, I guess. I'll just be hungry. Which is, don't get me wrong, that's my own fault. But like, because like if I don't have things that I want to eat, I just go hungry. I prefer to go hungry than eat something I don't want to eat, even if it's there and it's like fine otherwise. Like, oh, another day I might want this, but like if I don't want it right now and it's the only thing I have, I'm not gonna eat it if I don't want it. So hey, maybe I'll lose weight. That's the upside I'm seeing. Well, that and saving money, I guess. Being able to pay my bills. I just didn't realize how bad it was. Well, with the everything, like both the traveling and the rent increase. But I mean, the traveling's gonna stop in March, then I'm done with the gym stuff. So then I might get like $30 back a month, but on the other hand, then I might be doing something else that requires me to travel, so, you know. But yeah, I don't know, I'll figure it out. Like I said, in the end, it is still the fact that I can move bills forward. It costs money every time I do it, not that much, but it's like, it does feel, I don't know. It doesn't feel great to be like, yeah, I can't pay this $30 bill. Like, it's embarrassing. It's definitely embarrassing. And it also kind of frustrates me that I'm just giving this company money by moving my bills constantly. Or like, well, every month. But once again, that's my own fault. It is. I say that, to be honest, it doesn't really feel like it's all my own fault. Because I'm not out here fucking drinking champagne and I don't know, owning a boat. I'm not doing any of that. So sometimes I'm like, I don't know how if I feel like this is so much my fault. It's a little bit my fault, but I don't know, just in general, it's just like expensive to be alive right now. I think my electricity is gonna get more expensive too. So that's fun. So yeah, life be hard. What else is new, I've been playing Expedition 33 again. That's fun. And I found the new skins, the cheek skins. It looks really good. Yeah. At least I got some games to play off stream. I got a lot of games to play off stream. What else is there to look forward to? Oh, FNAF 2, the movie, comes out to digital tomorrow. Just saying. Is it good? No. But am I gonna watch it? Yes. But I've heard it's interesting if you're a FNAF fan. Which I'm like, oh, interesting. It's a bad movie. But it might have something for you if you're a FNAF fan. So I'm like, that's an upside. Also, Pluribus finale tomorrow, though. That I'm looking for. Or is it tomorrow? No, it's on Christmas Eve. Well, I think I can watch it on Christmas Eve. I can't remember if it's coming out on Christmas Eve or just that I can watch it on Christmas Eve. I'll figure it out. Oh, so this was tomorrow? Is it tomorrow? Pluribus. Pluribles. Pluribles. No, it's Christmas Eve. It is Christmas Eve. Damn. Then I can't see it until probably late Christmas Eve or early morning Christmas Day. But hey, at least I get to see it. Manusos! I really like Manusos. I'm not gonna get into it more. I just really like him. I think he's great. He's stubborn in a way that I would be. So I really relate to him. Yeah, sorry, the person did tell you wrong. Because, yeah, it says Wednesday, December 24th here. Unless it does, like, local stuff. Then, yeah, I think it's... I mean, I can check a Wikipedia. That definitely does not do local. Because I was checking IMDb episode guide. Last one. No, December 24th. Yeah. Oh, you haven't seen... Listen, first off, if you're going to watch Pluribus, don't read anything, don't look into it, do nothing. Just start watching it. The less you know, the better. It's one of those shows. I'm very glad I started watching it knowing fucking nothing. And I was kind of blown away. I was like, oh! Because I had no idea what it was actually about. I just read the blurb, which really doesn't tell you... How do I put it? Yes, it kind of describes it, but at the same time, it really doesn't do it justice. Because it just says, in a world overtaken by a mysterious wave of forced happiness, Carol Storka, one of the immune few, must uncover what's really going on and save humanity from its artificial bliss. But at the same time, that is like very good that they wrote that, because like it doesn't really tell you that much. Like how the show is actually like portraying things, or like how it's shown. Like it doesn't really, at least for me, it didn't match up with what, because I read that, I was like, wait, what I couldn't really picture it, because it's like, what do you mean forced happiness? There's so many questions around that. So like, yeah, it's pretty gay. Is it? I don't know if I think it's pretty gay. I mean, her character is a lesbian. That's about it. I don't think it's pretty gay as a show. I would know. I watch gay people every day, all day. I was about to say. That sounds weird. Just me sitting outside in the bushes. No, but like I follow a lot of like queer people on YouTube. So I'm very like in tune with that world, I'd say. So I wouldn't call it gay as a show. It's just like she's a lesbian. That's it. Like it's a normal show. There's nothing like super gay about it. Or like super queer or anything. It's just people. And frankly, the show has other things going on. Like if it was gay, I'd be like, I love all queer stuff and stuff, you know. I love queer creators and like, but this show is not about that. I want to know more about this part, the like mystery shit, which is what the show is doing. So I feel like if it was more gay, that would be very distracting and not right for the show. But yeah, everyone and their fucking mother is watching the show, as they should. It has higher viewership than Severance. It's the highest viewed show on Apple TV, which is quite a feat. Oh no, there's the first teaser for the season 1 finale of Pluribus. I don't want to see it. God damn it, Twitter. It auto-played it, but I didn't really see anything. Wait. Vince Zampella, video game developer behind Call of Duty franchise, killed in crash. Shit. I don't know who that is, but that fucking majorly sucks. Jesus, I'm sorry. Oh, you don't have Apple TV? I'm sure. Don't Apple TV have trial stuff? They used to. I wouldn't know, because I should say more. Yeah, because Mirte, have you seen Severance? Because otherwise you got good viewing in front of you if you haven't seen Severance or Pluribus. Oh, Mirte, you got good viewing. I haven't seen Foundation. I don't know. There's something about Foundation that like maybe like I'm not really interested. I hear good things though. But Pluribus and Severance, definitely watch those. They also have the Godzilla show, the Monarch show there, which I think is, I've heard, if you like, you know, kaiju and stuff. Oh yeah, Stranger Things is, the final 4 episodes of Stranger Things are coming this month too. God, they really did make movies. The run times for episode 5 is 1 hour 8 minutes, episode 6 1 hour 15 minutes, episode 7 1 hour 6 minutes, episode 8, the last one, 2 hours and 8 minutes. Jesus. I don't know, this final season of Stranger Things, I haven't been super into it. It's fine, but I don't care that much anymore. I'm glad it's over with soon. Don't get me wrong, like I you know, it's fine that it exists and stuff. I'm just not that interested. like they're not kids anymore, and you know, there's several people in the show that I just don't like because they seem like terrible people in real life. That makes me like, every time I see them, like, ugh. The writing hasn't been as good. I don't, it's just there's something off for me with the new season or the last one. But you know, I'm gonna finish it. But yeah, Ted Cruz is weighing another run for the presidency in 2028. Oh my god. Does he even have a chance? Does anyone like him? Because I feel like I've never heard anyone say, yeah, I'm a big Ted Cruz fan. I really support what he thinks. But I also hang around people who wouldn't like him, I guess. But he also said, what was it? There was something about Israel. Oh, God. Of course it was something about Israel. Anyway. I don't know. But yeah, I should go. I'll be back tomorrow with the... Because I don't have a delivery or nothing tomorrow. It should be last stream before... I mean, yeah, clearly. It's last stream for this week tomorrow. I should be back next week, I guess. Again. Yeah. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Like, no one really likes him. Like, why would he run for president? I'm gonna eat my leftover gyoza, which are not good heated up, but it is what it is. I have them, I'm gonna eat them. They're still gyoza. I don't really know. I wonder if I could just re-steam them. Or they're gonna be dry. Anyway, I'll figure it out. But yeah, I should be back tomorrow with a normal stream. Thanks for listening to me bitch and complain and tell you what happened and how my life is dramatic, I feel. Yeah, thanks for showing up. You have a lovely evening too. Yeah, I mean, the way you make gyoza, typically, you put them in a pan, you fry them so the bottom is crispy. Then you pour in a little bit of water, put a lid on, you know, so you finish cooking. So you get like, it's kind of soft on top, and then you get the crispy underneath. But since now they've been cold and I put them in the fridge and stuff, you can't cook them for too long now, or they will be dry. But at the same time, and you won't probably get back the crispiness of the bottom, because if you do that, I mean, you can try, I guess, but yeah, I don't know, I'll figure it out. Because usually I don't reheat gyoza, I usually just eat them all, but I got some left over now. I mean, of course, whatever you prefer. I do it, I guess, the traditional way. Just, to me, as far as I know, that's usually how they make it. But yeah, the reheating them becomes the problem. Because yeah, they're not really made to reheat in that way. Like, they're made, like, you're supposed to eat them fresh, 100%. Because they become, like, the wrapper can become a little weird after. Oh, okay, yeah. I mean, that's nice. I'll figure it out. I've done it before, but it's always a disappointing experience. But, you know, it's still gyoza. Still tastes good. It's just the texture's a little off, typically. And, you know, you can't overdo it. Or, because, like, you don't want dry gyoza. That's crumbly. Ugh. No. So, yeah. It's just the balance. I'll figure it out. It's food. I'll eat food. I haven't eaten anything. But everyone, thanks for showing up. I should be back tomorrow with makeup on. I won't be looking like... I look like a man, almost, don't I? Also, my big sit. Oh, it's on that side. I don't know. Sometimes I look at my face and I'm like, oh, I kind of look like a dude. Not that I care, to be honest. Like, if I look like a dude, that's fine. I kind of like that thought, actually. But, I don't know. I feel like I look like a dude sometimes without makeup. Anyway, I'm gonna go. Peace out. Bye. Bye.